Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 404 of A Yank on the Footy. I'm Craig Wessels, coming to you from Sandusky, Ohio, and thanks for checking in. I am going to be joined in just a couple of moments here by my mate Myk Aussie, and we are going to be jumping into all things round 21 and just some head scratching things that I'm going to just toss at Mick that I've not discussed with him at all yet ahead of time. But I just really wonder what the hell kind of world we're moving into. And Fox Footy, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. And we're going to get into that in just a few minutes here, but um I mean, I love my Watch AFL app and I love watching the games on Fox Footy, but I just the stuff that's come out overnight here in terms of some changes that they're making with how the commentators are going to be talking to one another is just something that just absolutely blows my mind. So, just as a preview, thank you for being a listener to my podcast. It's being hosted by Craig Wessels here, um, in my recording closet, and we're going to be talking to Kim Harrison because I'm guessing with Fox Footy I won't be able to call him Mick anymore. Um, so we're going to get into that. I really want to get Mick's reaction to that. We're going to be talking all things round 21, and I do hope you'll subscribe to the podcast over at my website, ayankonthefooty.com. Get on that mailing list. So when new shows come out, you'll have them in your inbox very, very quickly. Tell your friends about it as well. Send them a link. If you got a favorite interview that you've heard on here, I'd love for you to go ahead and share that with a friend and family and tell them about this crazy Yank that loves your game. At this point in time, I'd be about halfway through my trip if I was able to have been there this year. Hopefully next year I'll get to spend that month. That's the plan. Um, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my chat with Myk Aussie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned in the introduction, I am thrilled to be having my mate join me back here again, and I am thrilled to be welcoming Kim Harrison to the podcast. Kim, how are you doing today, sir?
Get your joke because of the Fox Footy commentators making use the correct name because of the boss of the zone. Is that right?
Bingo. That's exactly where I was going with this. Exactly. Yeah. What do you think about
Wow.
that?
Well, I don't use that name because I dumped it because many years ago when I came to Canada, Kim KYM was only a girl's name, but in Australia, KYM is 95% guys and
Right, right.
KIM is 5% women. So I dumped it. Kim backwards is Mick.
There you go. So that's what.
Damn, you blew my secret, mate. You blew my secret.
Well, and I guess I didn't pick up on it when I was watching some games last week. It just didn't register with me. And I saw a post on Instagram about it this morning, and I'm thinking, yeah, I didn't hear Chief. I didn't hear Huddo. I didn't hear that. It's like, what the hell? Seriously, what the hell is going on here? I mean, I know you and I tend to talk about how some things tend to be a little wokish or woke adjacent, but I did hear a clip from on Triple M where they were talking with the chief, Jason Dunstall, who was saying, that I only do what I'm told. I kind of just follow orders when I'm there in terms of, the naming such. And Mark, oh, I can't think of the one broadcaster's name that somebody kept calling him Mark, and they were like, "Who's he talking to?" He's, "Oh, wait, that's me." Uh, so,
Yeah, look, that's Mark Howard.
yeah.
Yeah, look, Friday, the Friday huddle is great. I listen to it as I'm driving around because all my shows are done by Thursday night, so I can
Hmm.
just relax and listen to that show. And they talked about it, and I believe it's the owner of DAZN, DAZN, now has money invested in Fox and the AFL. So I think it's come from high up at DAZN a bit more for new viewers to understand. But yeah, a bit over the top. Bit
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah. And I'm still working on lining up an interview with somebody from that company here in the US. Been talking to somebody on LinkedIn quite a bit, badgering them almost about trying to find out what impact is this going to have on the presentation of the game here in North America.
Wow,
And
that'd be a good one.
I've not gotten in the door yet, but I mean, I've been working on that pretty much all summer long. Trying, once that announcement was made that they had bought into Fox Footy or taken over Fox Footy, I wanted to know what's it going to mean for us here? Because again, I know we're a small fish in a big footy pond, but there are still quite a few of us here.
Yeah, well, my thoughts make it free for America, but AFL don't really care about the international market. As I've said before, they make out they do, but they don't really.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us into our second topic. I don't think they can afford to make too many things free with the AFLW kind of being being an awful lot like the WNBA at this point in time. And I hope that both of those leagues become self-sufficient. But as you'd mentioned, in our opening there that that they're losing what upwards of $50 million a year in the AFLW.
Well, that was the report on Sports Day SA coming from the AFL. Now,
Uh-huh.
look, I'm an advocate of women's football. I always have been here in Canada and the US. Filmed the girls, met them at US Nationals. They love it. But it's so obvious that the AFL, Gil McLaughlin, who I met, um, and his mob. Look, it's so obvious they screwed up. They expanded to too many teams too quickly. And like I said before, who cares that Port Adelaide or the Dockers and so didn't get in the initial teams? Just
Hmm.
bad luck. It was ridiculous that they went to 18 teams way too soon. And this is what happened. $50 million a year, allegedly, they're losing. I mean, maybe 10 you could bear it, but look, all that money could be going into development of the boys league and the men's league and the SANFL extra money and so forth. So it's an absolute joke that they expanded to 18 teams way too quickly, and I'm standing by that. And it's an absolute joke with the AFL. They've got too smart for themselves. Look at the competition this year. Oh, how many absolute crap teams are there? You got to put the blame on the AFL for that.
Well, I put when I put the ladder on my notes here today, I split it in half. I have 1 through 9 and 10 through 18, and I guess I could
Yeah.
have technically left 10 through 18 off of my notes because they have no shot at playing finals this year.
Oh, yeah. When I'm writing down the ladder, I didn't even feel like writing the last 8 teams, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it's there's not I mean there's going to be a lot of competition in the top 9, which is going to kind of buoy us. It's going to keep us focused on their games and such. But there's a lot of clubs who have players that are playing for contracts for 2026, or they're auditioning for another club because maybe they see the handwriting on the wall that they're not going to be on the list with their side this next year.
Yeah, look, you need to change your intro where you say it's the greatest game in the world. Just say Australian rules football is the greatest game in the world. Because honestly, there is a marked difference now between AFL and all the other leagues. Just the way the coaches are screwed it up with the defensive patterns, all the players around the ball. So it's really like two different games to me, to be honest. The country leagues are still great. SANFL still attacking. From what I've seen, I watched the Brosnan Light Gawler final a year or two ago,
Uh-huh.
still attacking football. AFL's like a different game to the Aussie rules football and every other league. That's my opinion.
Wow. That's pretty bold. I mean, I'm definitely going to take you on your word at that. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but it's yeah, maybe I should redo the intro then. When it comes
I
to that.
mean,
Yeah. No,
I mean, I
I know
went
what you mean. Yeah.
I went and watched Woodville West Torrens and South Adelaide at the start of the year, the league game, the trial game. And sure, there's a lot more shorter kicking to keep possession. Absolutely.
Right.
But you don't see the massive number of people around the ball and the defensive patterns that we have ridiculous in the AFL.
Now, does that, and I'm going to ask this, and you'll know this better than I am. Does that have anything to do with maybe the players at that level are not as fit as the AFL players, so they're not able to actually, cover the ground, for as an extended a period of time as AFL players are?
Oh, I would I would nearly say the opposite. I mean, if the ball is fast flowing, forward moving, you got to be more fit in that style compared to all the players around the ball,
Hmm.
congested rugby style. So no, I don't think it's fitness at all. It's just the coaches have outsmarted the AFL bosses, like I said a few times.
Yeah.
Malcolm Blight, he reckons you sit up the top of a stand and you're just amazed at the patterns of everyone around the ball and no one forward or centre half forward. Like, that's not our game. That's too much rugby style to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do want to get into a couple of other little things here. Well, one in particular before we jump into the games for this week. And then we're going to definitely get back to your slang terms for this week. And I have one that I think you know is coming that is not necessarily an official slang term, but we're going to incorporate it here. Um, what do you think about the news that your club's former senior coach, who's now heading up the West Coast Eagles, have publicly announced that they are going to reach out to the league for draft assistance at the end of the year?
Oh, well, it's their own fault, isn't it? Look at the number of players that they kept on after winning that 2018 Premiership. Simpson kept all his mates on for way too long.
Yeah.
Disgraceful. It's their own fault. And I like the Eagles. They're my second favourite team, city, whatever. But no, it's their own fault. Absolutely. And they got all that money in the bank, like I said before. How can they have 50 to 60 million in the bank and the waffle struggling? I just don't get that.
And that would you would think that this kind of goes back to what you were talking about, investing in growing the game. If the AFLW maybe hadn't grown as quickly, um, would it be in the best interest of a West Coast to invest in, the waffle or even some of the younger leagues in that part of Australia, around Perth to make sure that that you're developing talent that's going to want to stay in Perth.
Absolutely, you're dead right. And that's the old system we used to have with zones in
Right, right.
different areas. But you develop, let's say you spend all this money in Perth and the country areas of WA and the draft as it is, well, then any other team from any other
I
17
know where you're
teams
going.
can
Yep. Yeah.
draft one of those players. So
Good, good
it's
point.
catch 22. But it's disgraceful the money that the SANFL and the Waffle guys and the VFL guys get compared to AFLW.
Yeah.
Like, I've got some mates in Australia. Now, we talk positive about AFLW and women's footy, but I got mates in Australia that are just disgusted with it. Like,
Hmm.
I just think it's the worst thing ever, and they're entitled to their opinion too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and again, this is something that is outside of my purview because I don't necessarily know this, but could is there anything that would prevent, and I don't know if I think they don't have anything like this in existence, but would there be anything that would prevent the West Coast Eagles from basically setting up a West Coast Eagles Academy, similar to what the Sydney Swans have?
I would say there shouldn't be, but because Eagles have been such a successful team up until 2 or 3 years ago,
Right.
the AFL would just knock that on the head and say, nah. I
Yeah.
would guess that would be the reason.
Yes, and they would certainly write the letter, well, dear Donald Pike, you're not. I don't know if he had a I don't know if he had a nickname when he was playing or not, but they certainly would not be using it. I just
Nah.
yeah, I just that just is that part that still just boggles my mind that and I guess when I heard them talking on that on Triple M there, they were talking about how they didn't want to confuse new viewers to the game, people who are new to the game. So again, I don't subscribe to DAZN, so I don't see what they're doing on their app as far as introducing the game. I've not seen anything that's shown up in social media that says that they're bringing footy into that app or that streaming service at this point in time. So, I don't know who these new viewers are. I mean, most of the viewers that are watching footy are either in Australia who know that Jason Dunstall is Chief, that know that Lee Montagna is Joey, that know who Derm is, Derm Brereton, but it just boggles my mind. It really does. It
Well,
boggles my mind.
there's an opportunity for you and I. Let's work on it and try and get to some of their people and friggin' we do an intro show for the American market. I mean,
I would love that. I would
re
absolutely.
Rewolds in the US, sure, but I mean,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
talking to the US AFL guys and that for years about doing stuff, and I have done
yeah.
some stuff with them. So never stop trying, mate.
Yep.
ABC, always be selling, right?
Well, wouldn't that be ABS?
Yeah, I know, but it's just the same.
Well, you know what? We could be talking biology here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, were you surprised? Yeah, first of all, we did not mention, and we'll get into it. Just, the how does it feel to be a Melbourne Demon supporter this week, knowing you've had a horrible year and you had the biggest collapse in the history of the VFL AFL this past weekend with St. Kilda.
Well, last night I made sure to go back and watch that last quarter to laugh and to see how great the Saints were. And good on the Demons. You deserve it all because I have never known a team to win a flag and then become so arrogant. Just think everything's going to happen on the field. They've been a disgrace since they won the flag. Well, they did make the finals a couple of times. Their off-field issues, they're an absolute mess. They don't even have an acting president or CEO at the moment, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. But yeah, really enjoyed that last quarter. And we got to talk about him. Wangareen Miller, wow. I mean, he reminds me of a young Nicky Winmar.
Uh-huh.
Tall, 6'2" ish, thinnish, runs beautifully, takes a great mark. That mark he took, I'm going to say that's one of the greatest marks ever in pressure situation.
Yeah.
When you go back and watch it, he just leapt at the perfect moment, put his arms out and grabbed it with not much room around him, and then kicking for goal. Wow. Dead eye Dick, mate. Straight through the middle, both of them. Well done.
Well,
Fantastic.
the one I think the one and it that was a great kick to win it, but do you think and again you played the game in the back of his mind was he thinking I just got to put it somewhere between the two short sticks and just not hit one of them? Because at that
Yeah,
point in
well,
time, it was a 6 point win. He's just got
yeah,
there's the old saying about somebody not being able to hit the broadside of a barn with one foot nailed to it. Um, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
he just had to get close. And it was getting they're going to win by either one or six at that
Oh,
point in
mate,
time. But
yeah.
that was phenomenal. Just and it was it I saw an image of I believe him actually sitting on Ross Lyon's shoulders after the game, uh, which
Yeah.
pretty
I
cool.
saw him. I saw him playing round one off a halfback flank against the Crows, and yeah, he was their best player back then,
Yeah.
and just fantastic to see. And if he doesn't go to the Crows, I hope he stays at the Saints.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, do you think he's going to get to Adelaide?
No, I think he'll sign a short-term deal, like 2 years at Saints, and
Okay,
then go hard in a couple of years.
and then
That's
he'll
what he
be
should.
and
That's
then
what he
he
should do.
and then he'll be unrestricted. He can pretty much go where he wants then.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point in time, he doesn't have to necessarily force a trade. He can just go ahead and sign, and then the Saints would get back some sort of kind of like what happened with Ben Mackay when he left North Melbourne.
yeah. Look, he's still young. Ross Lyon's a good coach. Play another couple of years with your mates, and then do what you want after that. And then if
Yeah,
the Saints are still no good in 2 years' time, he can do what he wants.
exactly, exactly. Yep. All right. Well, I was going to mention, Toby Green reminding us that he's Toby Green real quickly, but I just, he got suspended for the hit on Isaac Heaney, but not for the horse kick into Dane Rampy's junk. Which I just, I mean, if you think about this, I mean, the guy is a phenomenal player. And I don't again I have no clue what's being said on the ground. I know that that he said something about somebody looking Papley like he was not in very good shape. I think he said something about
Stringer. He called Stringer fat, didn't he?
yeah, it was yeah, I think that's who it was. But then he's the captain of this damn club. He's supposed to be he is a leader. And then he does stuff like that. I mean, because he is suspended for the hit on Heaney. So he's not playing this week against the Bulldogs, a club
Yeah.
that they need to keep at bay because that's one of those that's the one club that's trying to fight their way back into the eight. I mean, I just wondering do his actions, and it's actually the first game of the round, which he was going to kind of dovetail in this, his actions could possibly, if not cost the Giants a shot at the finals, could maybe cost them a home final in a cutthroat game.
Yeah, my bad. Stringer plays for the Giants, so you're probably
Yeah,
right. It
yeah,
must
it,
must
it
have been
was it
Papley,
was
was
Pap
it?
it was Papley. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
my
Papley. Yeah,
bad, my bad.
yep.
Yeah, can we spend more time on the good games coming up than the crappy ones? Is that
Well,
all
yeah,
right?
I mean, we certainly could do that. I mean, you got the first two. If you want to get the crappy ones out of the way first, we could certainly do that.
No. We'll go in order. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you got the Bulldogs, hosting the Giants, Toby Green's not going to be there. Um what are you thinking on this one?
Oh, Toby Green out, Josh Kelly out. Yeah, this is straight out a home field pick for me at Marvel. Dogs are favoured by 14 and a half. Probably a little bit much. Giants are one of those teams when you don't think they're going to win, they certainly can.
Right,
One
right.
of the game, maybe the game of the round. Dogs have to win. Dogs of the Hawks might miss on the 8. So, yeah, I think I'll pick the Dogs to win, but the Giants to cover that 14 and a half
Yeah,
points.
I was going with the Bulldogs by 10 on that one. So yeah, I think we're in the same camp on that. I think with no Green, and as you mentioned, Kelly being out, it's I think it's a selfish move on his part to do that. And
Yeah.
it could cost them this. I mean, it could, it's you've got, those four clubs that are battling for those last few spots, you know, really five with the Hawks. I guess technically the Cats there as well, but their percentage is so much higher. But the Giants are sitting sixth right now, and Fremantle's been playing really well. The Suns, they still have a game to play against Essendon, and who's Essendon going to send up to play that last game of the season? I mean, they're going to maybe
Yeah.
send up their VFL squad to go
Yeah.
play that game. So I mean, this was just a dumb move on his part. And you said this could be the game of the round. I think the next one is actually the game of the round with your Crows hosting Hawthorn.
Yeah, just hang on. Just back to the other game.
Yeah,
The Giants, well, they were down by 35 points at the start of that third quarter and won by 44.
yeah,
That's a huge turnaround. And then the
yeah.
Dogs, Aaron Norton got 7 and Darcy 6. So they got some firepower, haven't they?
They absolutely do. And here's the thing. Nobody's really talking about that massive comeback by the Giants there after what the Saints did.
Yeah, you're right.
The Giants have this massive second half, and people are going, "Ho hum!" Did you see what St. Kilda did? And people are like, well, "Who cares about St. Kilda? They're buried on the ladder. I mean, they're sitting
Yeah.
down there at 14th, but it's a it was a tremendous comeback for them this week, and especially in the game being against Sydney. I mean, that makes it even extra sweet for them.
Yeah, fantastic. I like the Giants. I hope they do well, actually, in the finals.
Yeah. So we get to your Crows hosting Hawthorn. Your Crows are sitting at number 2 on the ladder. There are a lot of people who are saying they might end up finishing top of the ladder. And we'll look at their last 4 games they've got coming up here. They've got Hawthorn, and I know we really can't look ahead, but they've got Hawthorn, they've got the Eagles, they've got Collingwood, and then they finish up with North Melbourne. Bit of a mixed bag there, but certainly an opportunity for them to push their way to the top of the ladder if they were able to knock off the Hawks and the Magpies.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for them to kick 20 goals, 13 in the wet and bad conditions against the Port Adelaide Power Paps, that's amazing. And win by 98. Wow.
Yeah.
Sad to hear McElhaney out with a hamstring that's quite bad. He really does know how to find the ball, and very good young defender. Big rap on him. And of course, Dawson going along nicely. Saligo, Thilthorpe, Walker, Keys all in the goals, and Neil Bullen, like he's had a good few weeks. Yeah, look, 83% of the fans are tipping the Crows to win. They're favoured by 14-ish. I think
Yeah.
they'll win. Good to see Sicily back, best player, and
Yep.
Gunston going along nicely. So
Yeah,
should
he
be a good
is.
one. But
Yeah.
again, a home field pick for me.
Yeah. I'm going with the Crows on that one also. And I just was looking because I hadn't looked closely to see whether or not Collingwood is actually going to have to leave, Melbourne to play that game. And that game is at the Adelaide Oval. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is set up really nicely for your club to possibly jump to the top of the ladder here because you look at the Crows. I mean, we're going to get into them as well, but they've got the Lions coming up this week, and then they've got Hawthorn, and then they've got your Crows, and then they finish up with Melbourne. So you figure they're going to beat Melbourne, but those are three games in a row right there where they've got to run a bit of a gauntlet to hold on to that minor premiership.
Yeah, does it really matter if you finish first or second? You both get
No,
the home field,
right,
right?
right, right.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of yeah, that's true, but it's you know you you're gonna get if you're at the top. Yeah, that's true. If there was something were to happen where you ended up having to play, Collingwood again, maybe if you both dropped a game and had to go back into to the play-in game again after
Yeah.
having dropped, then you would get that game at home if you were on the top of the ladder then, because even though the league would want to have 100,000 people at the MCG for Collingwood, Adelaide if they had to play in that second round of finals, but Adelaide finished on top of the ladder. I don't even think the AFL would say no, we're going to keep this game in Melbourne. I don't think they could do that.
Well, they might pull a shonky seeing they're losing 50 million to the AFLW.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, maybe just raise the ticket prices in Adelaide then.
Oh, they'll be up for the finals. Of course they
Yes.
will.
Yeah, they
They'll be
will. They
paying
will.
more. That's fair enough to pay
Yep.
a bit more, but
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we've got one of those games that's on the schedule, so we have to mention it real quickly. Melbourne hosting West Coast. I'm going with the D's to win this one by 16. What say you? You got 5 seconds. I'm kidding.
Yeah, Demons are favoured by 42.5. No, that's too much. I'll take the Eagles to get within 42.5, but yeah, don't care. Demons put out a letter to their members this week because there'll probably be no one there, eh?
Well, here's my question. As you said, there's no leadership right now for the club. Who signed that letter?
I don't know.
And and again, another asshole fan, another asshole supporter though, posting on social media, that after the Saints game, saying that he was waiting out by Simon Goodwin's car to take care of the problem for D's fans or something along those lines. I mean, just seriously, guys, you can be upset, you can be sad, but just get back into your car, get on the train, and just go the fuck home.
What's that? What they say?
They basically said, yeah,
Common.
they were waiting by Goodwin's car to take care of Melbourne's problem. Basically, like,
Wow.
yeah, I just seriously, dude, you can be upset, but just knock it the fuck off.
Well, they say common sense is not very common
No,
these
it's
days,
not.
is
No,
it?
it's not. And we've got one of those games that's kind of a half important game, and I think it's in many ways it's kind of a 2026 game. But Gold Coast hosting Dimma's former club, Richmond. I'm going with the Suns to win this one by about 5 goals. Um, Probably going to end up being more. But what are you thinking on this one, real quick?
Yeah, they're favoured by 50-ish. What a great win. Great win against the Lions. They
Yeah,
belted
yeah,
them. What?
they did.
66 points. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Kick 20 goals, 10. There you go. Good kicking for goal is good footy.
yep.
So well done after they got beaten bad by the Crows. Yeah, Suns will win. Not sure if they'll win by 50 points, but Tigers are going along okay, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they're getting they've got a lot of injuries, but they've got they're getting games into these youngsters, and they've got their own first round pick next year, and they've got North Melbourne's first round pick next year.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, in the upcoming draft. So they could split, both of those, they could possibly, get two of the top 3 or 4 or 5 players in the upcoming draft. Or if they look like they want to, continue to bring in as much young talent as they can, who knows, maybe they split one or both of those picks and end up walking out of there with, first rounders in the, 9 to 10 range, and then another first rounder next year from somebody who's
Yeah,
desperate for, player X up at number 3 or number 4 in the draft.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got another one of those games that, we got to play because it's on the schedule. Sydney hosting Essendon. God, what a just that club has turned into a rabble this year, Essendon. Um,
Ugh,
they're I didn't think they were going to play finals, but I just didn't think they were going to fall off as badly as they had this year. But again, a ton of injuries with that club this year. Just a massive, massive injury list for Essendon right now at this point in time. I mean, it darn near fills up my whole screen. I've got on my monitor here. It's just a huge list of injuries, and just I think there's 16 or 17 players on there, and most of
yeah.
most
Look,
of them are season-long injuries.
yeah. Which just hardly. We only got 15 minutes left, so let's. Merritt, good player, best again. Dylan Shield in the best players. He's good. Redmond as well,
Yeah,
but nah, they're nothing. But then look at the Swans' best players: Goulden, Grundy, Mills, Hayward. Like some of their best players
Blakey.
back
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
So they're favoured by 45. Yeah, I guessed a bit less, but they might get that done.
Yep. I'm going with the Swans on this one as well. And then we get to the probably the last like huge game of the weekend, Collingwood hosting Brisbane. And looks like Collingwood's going to get back Bobby Hill, Jordan DeGoey, and Billy Frampton this week. So, I mean, that's a huge influx of talent coming back for the Magpies this week.
Wow. Yeah, look, it's again, if it was in Brisbane, I'd probably pick the Lions. But yet again, the close games, I'm going for the home field
Right.
of the MCG where they live and never get to leave. So they're favoured by 8.5. Lions will bounce back, but no, I think it'll be a Magpies win and should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Pies to win this one as well, which does not help your Crows trying to get that minor premiership. But as you said, doesn't really matter. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep. And then we get to St. Kilda hosting North Melbourne. Again, an audition game for both sides. Yeah, does St. Kilda come in on a high after that huge comeback and just absolutely steamroll North Melbourne, or do they come in and fall flat on their face, just kind of mentally exhausted from that comeback?
Well, they should come in on an absolute high and belt the living crap out of your team, the Kangaroos, your second favourite team, who are very disappointing with
Yeah.
the overrated coach. So, no, they're favoured by 24-ish. The Saints, I think they'll get that done. The Roos, they tend to stay in a game for a half or maybe three
Hmm.
quarters, but then they just get belted at the last quarter or so. So,
Yeah.
nah, they're disappointing, mate. Very disappointing. Zerha's a good player and a couple others, but wow.
Yeah.
Saints, I hope they follow up and belt them, actually.
Yeah, I think they're going to. They should get Nick Larkey back this week, but Tristan Sherry is going to be out again with another week of suspension. And that just and can I go back to one thing about the suspensions? And I this is a quote from Greg Swan, who's now taken over, AFL House, and he talked about the stuff with Toby Green. And I forgot to mention this. I want to go back real quickly. And Swan said he acknowledged that change was necessary to the controversial MRO grading system with its outcome-based suspensions often leading to hefty bans for accidental collisions, while more deliberate acts like Green's escape sanction. And he said, quote, at the moment, the MRO can only from a penalty perspective go upwards. It can't come down. So it's 0 weeks or 3, Swan said.
They've lost the plot, mate. I
Yeah,
hope this
I,
Swan guy, I hope he's good, but that Stephen May, I don't like Stephen May because I
mhm.
wasn't on last week. Nah, that was terrible. The Stephen May 3 week suspension. Are
Yeah,
you kidding me?
yeah,
They've lost the plot over this concussion stuff. It's absurd what they think they're doing in AFL House.
yeah.
They're all almighty and think they're great, and look at the competition. It's crap this year.
Hmm. It has been frustrating. Yeah, it has been. Okay, back to the games. We've got your third favorite club, after the Crows in West Coast, Port Adelaide heading to face Geelong. I would have been at this game as well. What are you thinking on this one? I'm going with the Cats by about 4 goals.
Ah, come on, mate. Come on, more than that. Come on, you can say it. They're favoured by 48. Come on, you can say more than 4 goals. Come on.
Well, I don't know.
What's your what's your honest opinion?
Okay, 6 goals. How about that? I'll
Nah,
go.
more.
He thinks. I mean, that's only a 2 goal difference from what the people who are the odds makers are saying. Then, so yeah, again, I'd like to be a little bit more conservative there. So I'm gonna.
Oh,
I'll go with 36 points then. I'll bump it
all
up by
right.
11. I'll go
All
36
right.
points.
I think they'll belt the crap out of them.
Well,
Port Adelaide had 19 more turnovers than the Crows in the game, losing by 98. I want to repeat that again. Port Adelaide Power Paps lost by 98 to the Adelaide Crows, just in case you missed that, anyone?
I
No, they'll belt them.
okay.
Port are done. Port
I
are
do,
done.
I don't want you to smear them any more than that, though. So we're going to move on to the last game here, okay? And this one could have been a great end of the round, but one of the two clubs has fallen off. Fremantle hosting Carlton. What are you saying, sir?
Oh, Dockers are favoured by what, 31 and a half. So, they beat the Eagles by 49. Blues are a mess, and I love it. And I hope half of their players, their good ones, leave. Dockers will win. Yeah, they'll probably win by more than 30. And while I'm at it, I did a little mathematics this week because
Uh-huh.
I like, as you guys, Aussies will love this. So you guys say math, right? And that's what they say in Canada. Do you say math or maths?
Without the S.
Okay, we say maths.
Yes.
And math always sounds weird to me.
Yeah.
So I did my math, and the average winning score in round 20 was 57.44 points. That would nearly have to be a record, wouldn't it? There was smashings all over
There
the
were.
place
There
last
were.
week.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I'm looking at, Fremantle, and we didn't talk about Hawthorn, but, Fremantle's got Carlton, and they've got Port Adelaide, Brisbane, and they finish with the Bulldogs. And then Hawthorn's got your Crows this week. Then they've got the Magpies and the D's, and they finish with the Lions. So Hawthorn's got a tough run home themselves. Almost, pretty much the same as what Collingwood is facing. A lot of similar clubs there. So we could see a lot of movement happening. And again, I'm just saying the schedule is the schedule. My Cats have Port Adelaide, then they've got Essendon, then the Swans, and then they finish up with the Richmond Tigers.
Yeah. But let's be honest, don't you wish the finals were here now? Because these last 4 weeks, there's going to be some really, really
Well,
average footy.
I think there's going to be some players that they're gonna find themselves wrapped up in cotton wool, having a sandwich along the sidelines like Paddy Dangerfield did last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a
Well,
yeah.
be nice, wouldn't it?
Yep,
Making 500,000 to 1 million, most of them, and just not doing much for the last month.
that's true. Yep,
What
yep.
a
Okay.
while I'm at it, there's got to be hundreds of players in other leagues that are better than some of these kids that get a chance because of the way the system works with drafting and injuries and stuff.
Well, do you think that there needs to be something that allows clubs to, I know we have the mid-season draft, but you look at a club like Essendon, who's just, and you look at, what went on with West Coast for the last couple of years when, Adam Simpson was there with all the injuries that they had. And I used to joke that, he would drive through the local Hunger Jacks to see if, the guy at the window was like, 6'3" and could possibly step in and play at the ruck for them that week because they were so injured. Should
Well,
there be,
sorry, this is why your Cats stay on top. If I'm not wrong, they often bring in a player that's, say, 23 or 24 from another league or recruit an older guy.
yeah.
Because too many of these teams, they're thinking 10 years, let's get up and let's be top around the mark for 10 years.
Hmm.
So they give all these young kids a go that are 18, 19, when you're better off to have a decent 22, 23-year-old in the team. So that's my strong
Yep.
philosophy on this. Absolutely. And that's helped ruin the competition, as you see now,
Yeah.
with injuries and too many 18 to 20-year-olds getting the game when there's probably, like I said, 100 or more players that are better in the other leagues right now.
But because they're a little bit older, they're not going to get the shot. But yeah, you're right. The Cats,
Yeah, yeah,
the Cats, great example of that recently, Brad Close, Sean
yeah.
Manna here recently, who was,
Yes, yes, yes,
phenomenal in the VFL. And I think he's 26 or 27 already.
yes.
He's been in, on the Cat side. I think this is his second season, and he's already 20, again, already 26 or 27. He's younger than my own kid. But, in terms of footy years, he's older. But as you said, maybe they've figured out that, bringing in those, if you've got a club who's already contending, who's in that, perpetually the top eight, that you continue to plug in players who can come in and contribute as opposed to ones that you're having to necessarily develop. You're
Absolutely.
projecting 4 or 5 years down the road, and then that gets to that kid is going, well, I can't get a game here now. I leave and go somewhere else, and clubs that are just scuffling in perpetuity, like the Roos have had happen, like the Eagles are experiencing right now, like Essendon has been experiencing for the most part for the last what 100 no, okay, not that long, but last decade or so, where they've been struggling to get out of their own way.
Absolutely. We all know that there's only the occasional freaks like Dangerfield or Harley Reid that are strong at 18 years old.
Yeah.
Most people take till they're 22 to 23 to get the man's body. So that I am so strong on this. So many players that are young would not be getting the game because of the injuries and the ridiculous draft system that we have. Bring in more good 23-year-olds from other leagues or
So
25-year-olds. Absolutely.
so should the league do more to allow clubs to add players in due to injury? Like I said, we talked about earlier, Essendon has just been absolutely decimated with injury. Carlton to an extent has been as well. Should there be something that's in place, not for like, draft help where they're going to throw them like a number 3 pick or number 5 pick in the upcoming draft, but to allow them to actually, maintain some, some level of competition for the league itself during that current season? Or
Nah,
would,
stuff them. Stuff them. Let them stay down the bottom. It's the fitness
okay.
guys. Look at the Crows. We've got that Burgess. He's well known to know how to handle players and their
Yeah.
injuries and their pre-season.
Yep.
And then you look at clubs like Bombers and other teams. There's so many soft tissue injuries. So there's definitely something to put to say Darren Burgess, who's well known, and
Right.
then these other fitness guys that just probably don't have it right. But there's
Yep.
sure there's luck involved as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Well, we've only got a couple minutes left here, and we're not going to have time to get into all the slang terms for this week. But I
Oh no,
did
you're
want
right.
no.
Yeah, we can do them. Yeah, as long as
I,
we finish in 8 minutes, we're good.
okay. Well, I wanted to get into one for sure. Then we want to talk about what you've got going on here. So, my first slang term for you this week is, what is a quack?
A quack.
A CWOC.
Oh, glad you asked. Because a short for a crocodile is a croc, CROC.
Uh-huh.
So in Australia, you go crocodile hunting or croc hunting up in Darwin. And thanks for the Waratahs jersey that I wore in the video. Well, I've been crocodile hunting here in Canada. Quocks, short for a crocodile, cool women of Canada. So I've been hunting quocks for 28 years, but I got caught by one for 10 years.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
So
So
there you go.
that was, Myk posted something up on his social media that was rather funny about that. And I want to make sure that we got into that there. So
Thanks, man.
yeah, you bet, man. Yeah, I thought that had to be the first one there. So what is a lob in? What is a lob in?
Lob in, one word, is it?
LOB, 2 words, LOBIN, a lob in.
Oh, I'm not totally sure on this. I'm going to take a guess that it's to just like casually stroll in and maybe crash at someone's house.
Bingo. Yeah, to arrive or turn up often unexpectedly for a visit or casual chat. Yeah.
All right, good.
Okay. What is a dunny budgie? A dunny budgie.
Well, I know what a dunny is.
Right.
The dunny's an outdoor loo
Right.
toilet.
And what's a budgie?
Or any toilets can
Yeah.
be called a dunny.
Yep.
Or as they say here, a washroom. God,
Right.
that annoys me. Washroom, they call it here. Sure, you wash your hands, but that's not the reason you're going there. It's too polite here sometimes.
Well,
A dunny budgie.
Yeah. I still call it the head. That's what they call it in the Navy. They call the bathroom a head. So
Head.
Yeah, the head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could maybe that's
Yeah, I know you could.
a bit like my punchline in my joke I told this
Yes,
week.
it was. Yes, it was. Yeah.
A dunny budgie. So the budgie smugglers are those bathers you wear.
Right,
So
right.
maybe it's like when you get your underwear, your jocks caught up your ass or something.
Nope. It's a
No.
blowfly. A blowfly.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I looked it up. A blowfly is a dunny budgie. Yep.
Oh, you got me on that one.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. What about Pozzy? Pozzzy?
Posy is your position. Hang on,
Bingo.
let me. Oh,
Bingo.
okay.
You
Is it?
got it.
Okay.
You got it. Yep.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Two more here. So you are one, two, three. You're three for four so far. Okay. What about a goer? What's a goer? Or what's goer mean?
A goer.
Uh-huh.
Messiah Wangareen Miller. He's a goer. Goer, like someone that really goes hard and is positive and
Bingo. Bingo.
phenomenal.
Yep. Okay. And the last one. Rocking horse shit. Rocking horse shit.
Don't know that one.
Okay.
Let me have a guess. A rocking horse shit.
Hmm. Yep.
A rocking horse shit. Well, we know what a rocking horse is,
Okay.
and you're not going to have a shit on a rocking horse. So maybe it's maybe it's when you're traveling on a rough road and you have a turtle have a crap come along or something like that. Oh, that's just a
Not
guess.
not quite not quite. It said used to describe something as extremely rare or virtually impossible to find. So for example, Essendon winning a finals game is as rare as rocking horse shit.
Okay, yeah, I may have heard that. Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah,
Yep.
maybe. I'll give you that one. I'll give you
Okay.
that one.
So Mick, before we go, then tell people where they can find your work and where can they follow you over on your socials, sir.
Yeah, Mykaussie.tv, Mykaussie.tv, and Myk Aussie everywhere. And yeah, hope you check out my new crocodile hunting versus crocodile hunting video with the punchline that Yank on the Footy definitely got, but a couple of their boys from India, I had to explain it to them here. So. But hey, comedy, you can't please everyone. We know that.
You
So,
can't. That is
and
absolutely true. That's absolutely
yeah,
true.
lots of sports sections on there. And
Yep.
Edmonton Cricket TV just put up I messaged the boss. Bang goes the post. Like, I just put up another post about the disastrous condition of the cricket nets here in Edmonton, so that'll get some
Yeah.
reaction.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey, Mick, I want to thank you for, taking time to sit down and chat today. We had a lot of good topics to talk about today, a lot of laughs in this episode. So, you know, um, I I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope that your Crows play well, and you know, we'll see how things shake out here over the next few weeks because it's gonna be a great. I think it's gonna be a great finals. But we have to kind of pretend that we're like Tim Robbins at the end of Shawshank, and we gotta crawl through a long tube of shit to come out at the other end and get a great finals because we've got a very concentrated group of clubs that are going to be playing finals this year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Look, I'll leave you on this, mate. I hope we're different. I hope I went hard and say what I can and what I believe in because, man, Melbourne, it's too woke and politically correct down there. So hopefully some people understand that they don't have to listen to all the crap that's too much of the Aussie media put out these days because they're scared of saying the wrong thing in the wokest city in the world behind London, Melbourne, Australia. See you later,
yeah.
man.
All right. Well, hey, thanks to Mr. Kim Harrison for coming on the podcast today, and uh, make sure you check out all of his stuff online. All right, Mick. Hey, man, thanks a bunch.
All right, thanks,
Okay.
man. See you
Cheers,
later.
mate. All right, Mick, Kim, thanks for stopping by today and chatting again, man. I loved it. Uh, I knew this was going to get you fired up, but folks, I want to thank you for checking out the podcast. This is just it's an absolute labor of love on my part. I love covering your game. The fact that you shared it with me, the fact that you shared cricket with me as well. Now, I've become so engrossed with the sport coming out of Australia and cricket around the world as well. That I can't thank you enough for that. Again, I do hope you'll head over to my website, ayankonthefooty.com, get subscribed to the podcast, give me a follow on my socials. They are all linked over there on my website as well. If you enjoy the show and you want to help it out, you can certainly click on that Buy Me a Coffee button. That would be a huge help. You could also um, leave a review. That's a huge help as well. If you want to check out any of the store merch, you can certainly do that. That's linked there as well. But a review would really be a big help. Gives me that street credibility with people in Australia who are yet to discover my passion for your game. Okay. And again, give Myk a follow. Myk does some phenomenal work, extraordinarily passionate about his Edmonton Cricket TV and as well as his sports comedy over there on mykaussie.tv as well. And folks, look out for one another. Check up on your friends. Make sure that they're okay. Okay, we had the local amusement park where I worked during the summertime. We had and I don't know the name of this person, but a 20-year-old employee. I don't know if they were an American. We have a lot of international students working here as well who took their own life. But please reach out to somebody. If you need to talk to somebody, don't hesitate to do that. Shoot me an email at ayankonthefooty@gmail.com. Shoot me a note on Messenger if you need to talk to somebody. Okay. But if not, reach out to a friend. And those numbers for all of your socials, or excuse me, for all of those helps are helping numbers are listed in the show notes of every single episode of the podcast as well. Okay. So don't hesitate to reach out, and the world's a much better place with you in it. And as always, may your dribble kick never hit the post. And I'll catch you later. And this has been episode 404. And give me a follow, okay? At ayankonthefooty.com. Cheers, everybody. Until next time.